Well, I'm still pretty new to Shanghai at this point, and I thought this would be a great time to tour my neighborhood here called Lingang. So that's what we're gonna do today. I've got my e-bike and we're gonna go around and look at different places. First thing you might wonder, what's with this big empty field? I thought Shanghai was one of the biggest cities in the world. Yeah, it is, but we're well outside the city center. One thing to understand about Chinese cities, or they're often called municipalities here, is that they have a lot of territory outside their urban cores. So even though I'm within the Shanghai municipal borders, I'm about 50 kilometers away from the Shanghai city center. And that's why this area is, well, not as built up. It's more like a suburb. In a Western country, this would probably be a different city, maybe within a greater Shanghai county. Regardless though, this is Lingang in Shanghai, and we're gonna go look at it now. This beautifully manicured sign tells you the name of this place, Lingang. And this road to either side is Shangang Dadao, or Shangang Avenue, which is one of the main roads going through the area. Another thing about Shangang Avenue is that it's one of the main ways out of Lingang. Follow it just a little more and you'll reach an expressway, a tolled expressway that leads right toward the city center, just as this sign says. The S2 will bring you right into the city center. Now, that 3 kilometers note there, that is not saying that it's only 3 kilometers to the city center. It means it's 3 kilometers to reach the entrance to the expressway. So the city center is really quite far. But this is how you would get there on road. Residential areas here. It's a very nice landscaping down the median here of Shangang Avenue. These really broad avenues here in Lingang are not really something you'd see in central Shanghai, which, like so many other city centers, was built before the advent of automobile traffic. It's nice though, and it's also nice that they try so hard to build bike lanes all over. Separate pedestrian sidewalks and a bicycle lane. That over there is the Shanghai Maritime Museum. Here's the front entrance to the museum, which I'm discovering is actually called the China Maritime Museum, not the Shanghai Maritime Museum. I'll have to look into it. I'll likely come here sometime and hopefully I can show it to you. There's actually some fairly tall buildings for this area. Not too impressive though by the standards of what you can find in the center of Shanghai. Still, nothing to sneeze at either. Here's another really important place for getting out of Lingang. Dishui Lake Metro Station. For line 16. That's the only line you can get on here, and actually it's the terminus of this line. This line doesn't really extend all the way into the city center, but it gets you to other lines that will take you there. If you go to the other end at Longyang Road, then you can connect to line 2, which goes right into the central city, to places like Lujiazui, which is where a lot of the big skyscrapers are, and also to older areas of the city like Nanjing Road, which is also famous for shopping. I'm not going anywhere on the metro today, but I thought we could at least have a look at the station. here we are. Got a convenience store here if you're hungry or thirsty. These machines will let you buy single journey tickets if you need one of those. I usually don't, I just use my phone to pay. And lots of other people use smart cards to pay. But if you don't have one of those, you can use those machines to buy one. And here's the concourse of the station. Since I'm not ticketed, I won't be going in here. You don't normally see quite this many Chinese flags, but at the time I'm taping this, it's early October, which is to say it's around the time of China's National Day. So everyone is very patriotic right now. Leaving the station through a different entrance. We've got this big carnival slash market out here. It's really loud. Kind of a nightmare of sound, if I may say so myself. But look what's back there. A huge fountain slash waterfall, whatever you want to call this. Pretty cool. I just kind of wish they wouldn't block so much of it with all those booths. Oh, this is new. Last time I was here, they didn't have these go-karts. Maybe I should take my kids here sometime. And I love fountains. Well, I'm gonna go up the escalator alongside the fountain. Up we go, back to street level. Hello, beautiful cascading water. And speaking of water, up here is Dishui Lake, for which Dishui Lake Station is named. What is elation? Dishui Lake Station, not elation. This is an artificial lake. In fact, if you look on a map, it's very clear that it's artificial because it's nearly a perfect circle. But it's a very nice looking one. It also seems to be big enough to influence the weather significantly in that it's always very breezy here. There's a really cool little bridge across Dishui Lake. And I'm on another bridge here. Pointing right into the sun. Since Dishui metro station is an important transportation hub of Lingang, there's also a bus station here for public buses. These buses go all around Lingang, but not much further than that. If you want to really go any further, you'd want to be riding the metro and not a bus. You'll notice they have LED displays telling you how long till the next bus departs. Oh. And there comes one right now to block my view of the LED display. But there it is again. Helps you know how long you're going to have to wait. Dishui Lake Station isn't the only metro station in the Lingang area. There's also Lingang Avenue Station. That's a little more in the middle of nowhere. so you can't get there easily by public transportation. But from my house, it actually makes more sense for me to go to that one if I'm going to go there on my bike or by taxi. So which one I use depends. They're both on the same line, so that doesn't make a difference. This area's got a bunch of bank branches, some of the only ones you can find in this area. The SPD in this bank stands for Shanghai Pudong. But I've actually seen branches of this bank in a lot of places, including in Guangzhou, where I used to live. So despite the name, it's actually fairly national in scope. Next to are big state-owned banks, China Construction Bank and ICBC, which stands for Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. I think ICBC is the largest bank in the world, at least by some counts. And here's an office of the State Grid. That's the power company. You might think that from its name that it would be the power company of all of China, but it isn't quite. There are some southern provinces that don't fall under it, including Guangdong, where I used to live. That one's under the China Southern Power Grid instead. But most of China is under this state grid. So these are the folks I pay my power bill to every month. A place you might have to go, but you kind of hope you won't. The Shanghai 6th People's Hospital, East Campus. This is the biggest hospital in the area. And if you want to get to much of any other one, you are looking at a pretty substantial distance. So this is a main one for people around here. Pretty little park here, not too far from the hospital. Not a big park. We've got some nice, beautiful wetlands in here. Outside the park now, standing on a bridge across this beautiful little waterway. And look, on this bank, some beautiful flowers. And trees. This is Ganlan Road. Or you could also translate it literally as Olive Road. They put lots of flowers in the medians of this one, so you know I'm into that. Purple flowers in the median here. Red and purple flowers. And look at all the colors here. A veritable smorgasbord of flowering colors. Alongside this avenue is a neat little wetlands here. I don't see any right now, but sometimes you can see some really interesting birds here. Big, long-necked birds. Cranes, herons, something like that. I'm not sure exactly what they are. I'm not exactly an ornithologist. And yes, I totally just looked up that word to say it in the video. Here, I think I'm going to head home and call it a day on this video. I hope you enjoyed this tour of Lingang, the suburban area of Shanghai that I live in. If you like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel to see more China-related content. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.